What up, YouTube? Quarantine day here. It's probably about 15 days of quarantine here in New York, in the lovely New York City, in my wonderful apartment. And we are going to be brewing some beer. So, this is today's beer. It's going to be a NutBrownAle, and we're going to begin brewing. We have about an 8.5 pound grain bill that you can see right here. Our hops edition is going to be the U.S. Fogel, and the yeast that we're going to be using is a dry yeast. So we're going to be mashing in at about 155, mash out at 170. The Fogel edition is going to be 60 minutes. And we're going to be cooling overnight. So hopefully all those things go very successfully. So we have already mashed in, and we got a nice layer of foam going. Done some stirring and stuff, trying to regulate the temp, trying to keep it around 155. And this is a brew from Northern Brewer, and this is the NutBrownAle. I love brown ales, but I really like the NutBrownAle. So, do some more clips and let you know later on in the brew how it's going. Alright, we have successfully mashed out, and we are now going to heat up to boil and begin that boil phase. And we're going to do our hop additions, which I will show in just a second. But in the meantime, while we're racing to boil, we're going to do a manual sparge with this bucket right here. I'm just going to run some warm water over top and see if we can get out the last little bit of sugars from our grain bill. We have about 8.5 pounds of grain here, but now that it's soaking wet, it's probably more like 12 or 15. But we're going to do some manual sparges and get ourselves a nice wort boil going. And once we have that wort boil going, we're going to use this here hop container to keep all our trub down and keep all our hop sediment controlled in this little baggie, so we don't have to waste those non-reusable nylon bags. So we are on our way. We got a nice wort, and good God, that smell is amazing. It is just the most delicious smell that could ever exist. Brewing here with our mega pot that we also got from Northern Brewer. Great times, great day to brew, great day to be alive. So this is the manual sparge process. We're going to get the last bit of wort off of these grains by pouring cold, lukewarm water over the grain bill, and then extracting the rest of that wort. And this is a really nice wort that we're going to use with our already brewed in wort, so we're just getting all of the last sugars into this brew. We're also going to add our U.S. Fogel hops. That's our hops edition, and it's going to be a 60-minute hop. So the second we get to boil, we're going to throw all those hops in for the entirety of the time that we're boiling. Now, the one thing that is working against me with this setup is I don't really have a good cooling mechanism. So what I'm going to do is just cover it and let it cool naturally overnight. When I'll leave the windows open, we'll get down to probably about 50 degrees here at night. And with the windows open, it should cool the thing overnight. And then tomorrow morning when I wake up, as long as we're at room temperature or thereabouts, I'll throw it into that nice glass 6.5 gallon bubbler. And with just the airlock, we won't need a blow off with the 6.5 gallons if I fill it up with 5 gallons of wort. And we'll say a little prayer and pitch it and see where we get in 2 weeks. So this is all the beautiful process of brewing. Fun for all. Now, in my very limited brewing experience, when you're brewing stovetop, a boil is achieved Much faster if you lid your pot. It just allows the heat to retain inside of the pot, and you can accumulate a lot quicker that way. The only problem is you have to watch for boil over. So during the sparging process, it'll be very easy because I'll be keep checking, but it's a good note to self if you are brewing on stovetop and you do have a closed lid, you are going to want to check that pretty often to make sure that you don't have boil over, because that will ruin your stove. I'm very fortunate that my stove is black and I don't have to worry about stains as much, but you do have to worry about corrosion and other problems of that nature. So, just something to be mindful of, but a good tip if you're just trying to accelerate that temperature rise from your mash temp to your boil a lot quicker. Putting the lid on is a healthy way to go. Alright, so we're just checking in. The heat's steadily increasing, but we're not really at boil yet. And we're not exactly at the hot break either. But you can see we're getting a nice foam layer. It's starting to look really good. So, not exactly at the hot break, and definitely before the boil. But we're trugging along. Trucking, or trugging, however you want to do it. We're trucking along. Okay, so we have reached the boil phase, and we are going to make our hop addition. So first things first, we are going to put in our handy dandy basket. So that's nice and snug in there, and that will keep the hops exactly where they need to be and cut down on the amount of trub we have coming out. So this is our hop addition US Fuggle. I wish there was some way to record the olfactory sense that you get from the sharpness and the piney citrusy nature of the hops as they come in. So we are going to make that addition currently. Perfect. Set our timer for 1 hour and we will have a wort. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we're a good 30 minutes into the boil phase. We have our hop addition in. But I did forget to mention one key ingredient to any successful homebrew day, which is enjoying your own homebrew. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we'll see where it goes from here. So we've begun the super slow cooling process. We're still way too hot. Yeah, not even thinking about pitching this for a long time. So we're just going to wait and wait and wait, and hopefully it'll cool. We have begun our transfer process. As you can see, we're straining to get the last bit of trub out, and at the same time, this is also aerating, so it will give us a lot of oxygen inside of the wort. So when it does pitch, the yeast will have plenty of oxygen to turn all of the sugars that we've extracted from the grain into beer. And it's got a beautiful dark brown color because this is our beautiful brown ale. So here we are in the final stages of our brew day process. We are about to pitch the yeast into our wort, thus making it beer. So we've sanitized it. I've said my little prayer over it. I'm going to open it now, and then we'll take a video of the pitch. Alright, so here comes the pitch. I am doubling down on the yeast, simply because this yeast pack is very old, and I believe it was damaged in transit when it was sent to me. So the dry yeast is definitely as good as it's ever been, so I have no fear there. But just to accompany it, we are also going to put in our liquid yeast slurry. Alright, now that those two things have been entered, our wort is officially beer by New York standards. And I'm officially the owner of the beer because of a fun fact. In the state of New York, when you pitch the yeast, that makes you the owner of the beer. So you have to be 21 to pitch yeast into wort. Fun fact. So the brew day is complete. We have our finished product, which is just about 5.5 gallons of homebrew beer. We took the OG. The OG came out to 1.041 with calibration for temperature change. So that will probably give us about a 4.5% to 5% ABV in the finished beer product after the fermentation process is over. So all in all, it was a very successful brew day. The color looks great. Only thing left to do is clean up. Thank you all. And if you like this brew project, please like and subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty of more beer content, hopefully some Tai Chi content, and of course gaming content.